Hello and welcome to the Happiness Jungle TV show. I'm your guest host, CamiBaker.com, and we have a guest today that I met out networking. Just goes to show, getting out and meeting people is really important because it gives me extra guests. Sonya Lyn is an entrepreneur from the New Hampshire area. Sonya, tell our viewers and listeners a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Thank you, Cami. So I am a mom of 3 children and went through a really difficult divorce, and through that really led to my passion of supporting other men, women, and teenagers emotionally through their challenges to really shift from surviving to thriving. So I'm working on a book, Getting Off of Your Knees. That's really talking about the story on how we are the hero in our healing journey. And yeah, so I love what I do. I lead people to a life full of love, and I'd love to talk about that and answer any questions.
So tell me, without getting too detailed, as deep as you want to go,
Sure.
a little bit about the story that had you figure out this pathway and how to thrive.
Sure. So I didn't realize, but I was a victim of narcissistic emotional abuse. So it was really important to break that cycle of the codependency and the narcissism to learn how to heal and attract healthy, loving relationships and connection. So that is the very short version of what began my journey of becoming awake to really be able to heal and to shift from that survival mode to creating my ideal life and thriving.
So what do you think are a couple of things to watch out for to know if you're with a narcissist?
Well, if you feel like you are beating your head against a wall in a relationship and just you're in a relationship and you feel lonely, and a real red flag is they do not have empathy.
They don't.
Right.
And you can see it in their eyes, or lack of it in their eyes, too,
Yeah,
if you really look.
There's a lot of charm, and you can get sucked right in. But as soon as there is that point of, having a child or having a place together, or once you are really committed in a sense, then the true colors will come out.
Well, fortunately for me, my narcissist relationship didn't have children involved. How in the world do you handle that?
When there are children involved, well, that is a whole nother war because you cannot co-parent with someone with that, because everything is the intention behind it is ill. So it brings a whole new world of challenges that can be a very scary place where you make a lot of decisions from fear. And that's part of what's so important for when I work with my clients, to have that safe place for them to make conscious decisions and not fear-based, because those fear-based ones won't serve them and their family.
How do you help them, and how do you yourself not say the wrong thing around your children? Like, you don't want to alienate your children from their parent, but at the same time, narcissistic behavior can happen with the kids too, and there's a lot of damage, so much emotional damage with that. How do you protect yet not judge? And wow, what a dance!
Yeah, it is. There is that dance between the the codependent and the narcissistic energy, that human magnetism. So to really seek some guidance to be able to go through that territory, because I needed an excavator, and I wasn't my best self, because it's such a stressful situation. There's so much stress and conflict that you're not being the best version for yourself, so or your children. So really being able to hear them, trying to give them this safe place, because they are being a victim of alienation and brainwashing. And they have to figure it out for themselves. So really not speaking ill about the other. I mean, you might need that place, but it's not in front of the children. So having a safe outlet to get that out, but to really look within and to see, what got you into that situation. Because when we're directed at the other person, we're not looking within, and we want to break that cycle. Otherwise, we'll continue it. So there's a lot of moving pieces to it to, really we need healing in that situation when we're a victim of emotional or physical abuse. And so do the children. They really need that certainty and that security and that comfort. So really the best is getting the support for yourself to have that guidance and mentorship to lead from that place of fear into love to have that for the children, because there is so much damage that can occur for them that needs healing.
So what was it for you when you made the break and
Yes.
you're emotionally like been through a war zone?
Exactly.
What was it for you what was the day that you said, you know what, I'm putting my big girl panties on and I'm fixing this?
Okay. So after the divorce, or in the situation where it was time to leave?
The time that you woke up and decided you could handle this and you were going to take charge.
Okay. I would say unfortunately the rock bottom, and I don't want people to wait to rock bottom to be able to, seek some guidance for that. That was just a real low place in my life. I talk about the 3 Ds of divorce, death, and disease. You don't have to wait for that to wake up and shift to make a positive impact in your life. And that really took I think the turning point for me was when he was really pushing for alienating and taking the kids away. And I had to really wake up so I didn't lose them, but I was doing what was best for them. So really, of course, I didn't want to lose them. No parent wants to lose their child. But really to have that place to wake up and make sure you are doing what is absolutely best for your children, because they're pawns in the game. And sometimes it's a letting go to be able to reduce that anxiety and pressure for the children. So really, that was for me to seek within and to wake up on, how can I be the best version of me, because this is a crucial point. So
did you get outside help? What did that look like?
Yeah, so it started with some counseling and some therapy, and I actually was meeting with someone that my counselor therapist had a parent that was narcissistic, so there was that connection. I really didn't care what was behind his name for letters. He could understand the situation of a toxic relationship. And then I wanted to be able to support my family and children and grow. I was passionate about shifting into that personal development and growth, because this wasn't living, it was just surviving, which isn't fun. And just learning about what it did for me going through, because I was seeking the program to just have a better education for myself and to provide and to be able to serve others, because I knew I didn't go through that just to go through it. So there was a higher purpose on going through what I had. And that really was just such an incredible development system of growth and love for myself that led into just different healing modalities and being able to serve people that are lonely or feeling stuck, that they just feel hopeless, throwing their hands up. How do I have a better relationship with my child? How do I break this cycle and have a healthy relationship for myself?
So what is the modality that you use?
So there's a lot of different hats I've put together. And it started with the coaching, and then it led to becoming an interventionist, and then EFT, so the emotional freedom technique, a Reiki master, so I incorporate that in to have that nice healing, because a lot of time the autonomic nervous system, there's so much stress going on in the body. We really want to balance that out. So it's nice if I do an in-person session, I can do a little Reiki and, balance that out. And that also promotes the emotional awareness, the spiritual development, and being able to, reduce the physical pain that is coming out from the intense emotions.
So you can work with an individual or a whole family?
Yes, exactly. I can work with an individual, I can work with a couple. a lot of times I have adults hire me for their teenage children. I have a development system that is just specifically for teens. And as a single mom that raised 3 teenagers and a youth group leader, I love the teenagers. And really, with my 90-day challenge, I'm able to so passionate about being able to reconnect a child and a parent relationship with just working with the parent. So I don't even need to work with the teenager. You know, so many parents are thankful, saying, I got my loving son back, or my, you know, teenage daughter back, or just because it's seeking within. You know, if we're blaming and we're pointing the finger, then we're not looking within. And
God bless you.
Yeah.
God bless you for doing that work.
Yeah, thank you. It's there's a lot of us that have gone through that and passionate about it. And I know for me, I look at home videos and I there was so much control because there was so much pain. I loved my children, but under that control, that was the lowest level of emotional and spiritual awareness. And so I hear how I spoke to them, and I can't even watch the videos now. So, you know, for parents to be able to realize that they can make the difference just by getting that guidance and being able to heal what they have going on, they will get that healthy connection with their child, because, you know, the anxiety and the stress that the children have, they do as we do, not as we say. So, yeah.
So for, like, I can think of parents right now that I'd love to introduce you to. What does someone say to that parent that they want to introduce you? Like, how do they introduce you? Introduce what you do, or how?
Right. So am I hearing that if there's a parent that's having some conflict or concern about their child's behavior, what would this person say to that parent to get them to want to reach out?
Correct.
Yeah, so I've had people in the past that they just said, oh gosh, I had a similar situation like that. I had conflict, or my child was getting into trouble, or, you know, they were anxious, or I thought they had, you know, Tourette's, or they were seeking into, you know, drugs or alcohol. But after working with Sonya, you know, you're able to get your child back with, you know, if they're facing resistance and they don't want to speak to someone, they don't have to. But, you know, reach out and see, just have a conversation and see if there's a connection and there's a good fit. Because with the 90-day challenge, you know, you can really see drastic improvements that, you know, benefit the child, so they can have that peace in the home. I mean, I remember just the toxic environment, and now people come to my home and they're like, oh, it's just so peaceful and just so zen here, which is amazing from where we were to where we are now.
Well, I'll be introducing you to someone later on today. So, so give us an example, whether it's an individual, a couple, a whole family, of someone that you met, and, you know, what the process was and what it's like now.
Okay. So a process that comes to my individual is actually what just comes to mind now is a gentleman that it was his adult father. So this is an adult man, but had some conflict with his adult father that was just, you know, if we have a challenge in a relationship, it affects every aspect of our life. And this gentleman was very successful in all aspects of life for how he defined success, except he was noticing that the conflict and the disconnect between him and his father was really eating him up. And he took the step. He had gone through, I think, a different development program before, and he knew the value of personal development and seeking some guidance. And so he reached out to me, and working together in 3 months, we brought in, so this was a little intervention, we brought in the sister, we brought in the mom, and just worked remotely. They didn't have to meet in person. They were all through Zoom and phone sessions. And so it was a very safe, flexible place to meet with whoever was willing. And this was really an issue between the adult son and the father. Well, without speaking to the father, because he was not open to it. He was not open. He's in his early 70s, and, you know, a very closed mindset. He had that mentality of, nope, I don't need help, don't need to talk to anyone. And this gentleman, he is forever grateful, and I always pass the credit back to him because he was the one that was willing. He was the one that was open to seeking some guidance to create a positive change and break that cycle of insanity. And him and his dad have a better relationship than he has ever had. And he will never have any regrets of his dad's last years. And he still sends me photos of them fishing together or doing things together when he really was so frustrated and in so much pain that, so any age, it can be teenage, it can be an adult child and that wants to reconnect with a parent so any two relationship, but it really shows that a lot of improvements can be made with just one party if the other person is not on board. It doesn't mean that there isn't hope.
So do you have a book? Have you written one? Are you going to write one?
So there's a couple in the works. There's a lot going on that I'm excited about. So yeah, this Getting Off Your Knees is the first book, and it's really talking about what divorce and taught about healing relationships and transformation. So it's really that journey of that we are the hero on our healing journey. We hold the key to unlock the inner prison I had was in my own head, and I had the key. It wasn't about my ex-husband. It wasn't about the children. It was really myself on how I could shift and heal my past to lead with love rather than from fear. So.
There's a couple of people I'm thinking of introducing you to, including another guest I had on. Eric Morrison is the adversity rock star. He helps people go through adversity, and different but very similar.
Yeah. Yes.
So I'm curious, how do you differentiate? Like, I can just imagine, like at the networking event that you and I met at, like when people find out what you do, where do you draw the line between them picking your brain and just wanting to tell you their sad story and saying, you know what, you need to become a client, and here's what that looks like?
Okay, so yeah, whether they just want to kind of vent and be heard, because I've been told you're that very safe place, very empathetic, and so I like to give them, I want them to feel like I'm a safe place, that they can build that trust with me. And so I offer a complimentary call to see if it is a good fit. So, if I'm at a networking event and someone I'm happy to give a tip, and say, oh, if you're having trouble with your teenager, here's a strategy. And, let them see some value and give them something where I come to mind and they can make a difference. But, really set up a call. Let's really give them that safe space for 30 to 45 minutes or come to my office and see the opportunity that is available. And typically the first step is my L factor process, which is the love leadership, and it's really showing the blind spots of what needs healing, because so many people are seeking healing, and we have 12 categories for healing. So let's really get to the heart of what is causing this health and relationship challenges. I've had clients that after going through therapy for 10 or 20 years, and they said, how come this never came up? Well, because we're speaking from that 5% of the conscious mind, but these assessments are cutting edge and tapping into that 95% of the subconscious mind. So we're really seeing the dark spots and just the blind spots. That's the whole living unbroken. Because we're not broken, it's just broken programming. So we want to rewire that and be able to get to the source. And the other part of that assessment and the debrief is this energy leadership, where we're either leading from fear or love. And we want to be able to, again, see our strengths, how we're showing up under our best selves, if we're not having the stress or the conflict or the divorce or the disease. And then when we are facing that, how we're showing up. So it's just an amazing mirror image, and it's a nice tangible visual for people to see. And I haven't had any experience yet where someone is not shocked at how much fear and negative energy that is getting in the way of manifesting and having that connection. So they're either in that energy where it's causing dis-ease and disconnect in their relationships, or they're in that healing anabolic energy where they're manifesting, they're creating the close relationships and healing energy. So it's just an amazing process to start with people, to see where they're at, and then we can create a tailored program to bridge that gap from that valley or, being on their knees, just feeling hopeless, to creating that tailored plan to the high country of really thriving.
So do you do like couples counseling as well?
Yeah, so the 90-day challenge can be just one person, and the intent is to improve a relationship, or if two are on board, then that's great. Then they'll get, they could get results even faster.
So the 90-day challenge could be a parent who's working through something with a child, or a spouse, or any dynamic. It's the one person taking a look at themselves, what part they play in it, and how they can shift their energy so that that person shows up differently as well.
Exactly, and it's also going to raise awareness on the strengths and blind spots of the other person, because they're really going to get a lot of aha moments and insight and tools on just how they can achieve the results they're looking for just by making some changes themselves.
So you mentioned giving a strategy, like about a way to handle a teenager or your relationship. Give us one of those.
Okay, so what comes to mind, there's a lot of parents that, they may be so frustrated that they leave the towel on the floor, something as small as that, or that it could be, promiscuous behavior, or, they're
drugs.
Anxious, drugs, alcohol, it is a drug, just really dangerous. They're very concerned for their well-being, and they want to, they're just vulgar, they're not listening, they're defiant, whatever it is. So a pick three strategy is I work with the parent and say, okay, I want you to pick three things. You're going to let the child be with all other issues. If they leave the brownie pan dirty, or they have clothes on the floor, or they forgot to let the dog out, whatever it is, let it be. You have to make a commitment that you have three things that you want from them, and you will be the happiest parent. So whether it's, doing their best at school, or making sure they're home for their curfew, or, just safe decisions, they really have to decide what the three things, whether it's respect in the home and language. So one is they really need to have an agreement, because people want to keep agreements. And when we have expectations, we're disappointed. We're always disappointed if we have expectations. And so we want to have an agreement between the two people, whether it's a parent-child or, a couple, to really understand, okay, what does respect mean? What does doing my best at school look like? Paint that picture for me, not just these are the three things. Really have to have that understanding. And then let go of the other things. The child doesn't have to have anxiety if the toothpaste cover is off, or if they walked in the house with the muddy shoes. It's just letting them be, because so often we're human beings, we're not human doings. And just allowing people to just be, and to reduce that anxiety and stress that comes with not worried about someone always nitpicking at us. So the pick three is a great strategy.
My daughter is 20, and I just remember when she was 15, 16, living with me, and sometimes her room was so...
Oh, that's a big one.
Just... like gross.
Gross.
Like
moldy food.
Oh, that's the cereal bowl with the mold in it, the whole thing. And I would think to myself,
yes, that's
if she were to get in a car crash or something and die tonight, I would wish that I could walk into her dirty room. I would wish that the TV was too loud or whatever, and I would try to play games with horrible games like that so that I could be grateful.
That
I could be grateful to walk into her dirty room.
Right?
It didn't work.
Okay. And that's a distraction, right? When the room is dirty, we're trying to vibrate high, and we have different, things that block our energy.
You try shutting the door so you don't see it, but you know it's there.
Okay, yeah, and that's the process of letting that go. Yes, it's shutting the door, and it's just, checking in. Why does that bother me so bad? And how can I let that go? And for me, it was the control. My house, like yours, I'm sure it's very well kept up, and that's important to us. And no, the teenage room, it just gives them that space to have a little something that's their own. And when it gets bad enough, they'll do something about it. Well, eventually, you know.
She now, her car, you get in her car, it's not just an empty.
It looks like a hoarding.
It's not just an empty soda can. It's like pieces of fried chicken from 3 weeks ago. That's beside the point.
Right.
So in the last couple of minutes of the show,
Yes.
what are a couple of tidbits, some tips or skills you can give, or something that you want to leave our folks with? Like, what do you want them to know?
Okay. So what I like to leave them with is to become aware of our emotions, because so often, you know, we have the ability to have happiness and shift our attitude. It's not just about, you know, this thinking happy. It's deeper than that. But so many of us have pushed emotions aside, or for me, it was going to sugar. You know, if I was experiencing some tough emotions. And we're wired to seek pleasure and avoid the pain. But a huge practice is to, first of all, check in. If you're having a negative emotion, back up to what is the thought behind it. You know, what is going on? And then with that thought, what is the belief system behind it? And ask ourselves, how true is this? And where did this belief system come from? Because our action result is a product of our emotions. And so it's this process of checking back in and allowing ourselves to feel, and really becoming emotionally aware is a huge step. And, you know, and sometimes it's just setting a timer and say, okay, what am I feeling right now? Is it great? Is it negative? And then the impact it has on us physically, and checking in, you know, what's the sensation we're feeling? You know, is it good? Is it in the heart? And really recognizing that our physical and our relationship health it goes back to the mindset, and they're only as healthy as our mind is.
True that.
So checking in with the emotions and then the thought and the belief behind that, because we want to reframe and rewire and change that so we can improve our life and relationships.
So how can people get in touch with you?
So the best way is there's email, sonya@livingunbroken.com, or my website is sonyalyn.com. That needs to be updated, but there's some great information there on the 90-day challenge. They can get a free plug in their email and get some information on 7 reasons why their relationship might not work. Really talking about healing ourselves, because until we heal what cut us, we can bleed on others that didn't hurt us.
That's a powerful ending statement. Sonya, it's been awesome having you on the Happiness Jungle TV
Thank you
show.
so much.
And you mentioned something about happiness, and what you were saying, it's just appropriate that you're on the Happiness Jungle. So
the synergy.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Happiness Jungle. Bye.